Sean Hannity had David Silverman, who's a very outspoken, and I would say pretty strong atheist. He's the head of American Atheists, actually. Sean Hannity had him on to try to rough him up a little bit, but it didn't exactly work. So let's hear David Silverman defend why they had this somewhat controversial advertisement in New York City telling people to move past sort of the mythology of Christmas.
This is the time of year when so many atheists who call themselves Christians drag themselves to church against their own will because they think the church...
Atheists who call themselves Christians? You don't know
Atheists who call themselves Christians.
You said it. You said
well, let me
in this
explain
article.
what I'm saying here, okay? They drag themselves to church because they think the church is an integral part of Christmas, and it's not. We're saying for those people, you can keep them merry, you can have a party. You don't have to go to a church in which you don't believe. You don't have to pray to a God in which you don't believe, and you don't have to donate money.
I don't actually believe him. I like him. I'm on his side. I think that they're trying to reach out to people who are religious. He's saying, oh, it's not offensive because I'm just trying to reach my own atheists and saying it's okay, you can be out and you don't have to go to church and you just have a great time. I think the message is broader than that, and they're trying to reach people who are on the fence and saying, hey, listen, you don't have to listen to that nonsense mythology. So,
I think you're probably right.
Yeah. I'd just go ahead and say it. What's the difference, right? I'd be like, yeah, look, it's nonsense. So, yeah, I'm trying to convince, I don't think really freak Hannity out. Say, I'm trying to convince your kids not to believe it.
I don't think atheists should necessarily be in the business of trying to convert people.
Really?
Yeah.
I disagree, actually.
I don't know. That seems... there's no way I agree with Sean Hannity, but like that ad, whatever. I could see. You're running an ad that could well irritate religious people who
That's fine.
Who are 100% on your side.
Well, not 100% on your side, but I know what you're saying. You're saying, look, there's a lot of great religious folks. There's no need to get in their face,
right,
and no need to try to mess with their faith. That's a perfectly legitimate point. The flip side is that there's a lot of religions, of course, also done a lot of bad things in the world, right? And if one side...
Name one.
Now, if one side is unilaterally disarming, and you've got the Mormons sending out all their people to do missionary work, and you've got, of course, Christians evangelizing throughout the world, why not have atheist agnostics also evangelize and say, hey, you got it right, I got it right,
well,
and I got the facts, by the way, so you're in a lot of trouble.
Agnostics cannot evangelize.
Okay, I would argue I can.
Well. Yeah. Damn you! I don't know. Maybe.
I am evangelizing my somewhat confusion.
Yeah. Here's why I wouldn't do it because we're winning.
Oh, that's an interesting
Yeah, but I think
out.
I would probably make the case that one of the reasons we're winning is because subtle little things that are seeping, like this, that are seeping into the culture and causing small groups of people, individuals, to question their beliefs. I think for me, it was a little thing like this. It was reading one book that made me realize, wait, I haven't actually really believed in religion this whole time.
I got it, just a billboard at Christmas. But I see both your points. It's just, to me, it's a little like you in the mock court. Mm-hmm. Like the other side screwing up, the judge is screaming at him, and you're getting up and being like, and on top of that, and he's like,
well,
I already ruled in your favor.
You can't win more.
We've got a few decades still to go.
Yeah. But so because we're not exactly
No,
winning.
we haven't won, we're winning.
Yeah, I mean, time's on our side. They had one more interaction here.
So what happens when you die? What do you think happens?
You die, just like everything else in the universe. Yes.
That's it. There's nothing
It's not
outside.
a pretty picture. This is it. There's no fantasy here,
You
Sean.
can't believe there's something greater than you.
No, that's not it at all. The fact is that in absence of knowledge, if we don't know something, that's not evidence for an invisible magic man in the sky. That's evidence for the fact that we need to learn more. That's what it means.
Good to see you.
Hey, thanks for having me on the show.
Merry Christmas.
Happy holiday, Sean.
I love that.
Nice little jab at the end.
I also love that every time he goes on Fox, they have to ask him those same sorts of questions. It's never just, why did you do this particular billboard? It's, well, what happens after we die? Well, why don't you have a problem with that? And I think it's because a very small part of them actually wonders about it and doesn't fully believe what they've been taught. And that's actually what's stopping them from giving up their religion, is just this fear about the end of their life.
I'm just talking about Sean Hannity in particular. That's a guy filled with doubt who hates having his doubt questioned.
Oh, yeah. And I know a lot of religious Muslims, and not so religious Muslims, who are scared to death of what happens to them when they die. And then you could fill in the blank for every religion. I mean, Woody Allen, like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Just calm down. Nothing's going to happen, right? But everybody's terrified of it.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
Sean Hannity can't. I mean, what practicing Christian can't handle that question? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you don't believe. I believe. Just that's it. That's all you got to say. Yeah, I have faith. You know, you can't get mad at the other person.
But
That's
I think
crazy.
one last thing, I think that he might be setting it up for like his religious audience, you know, and his audience is obviously enormously religious, thinks when David Silverman says that nothing happens to you once you die, that to them is like, you see that, obviously he's wrong. Yeah, Hannity got him because, I mean, that's crazy.
Something has to happen.
Obviously, something happens because what are you going to tell me? You're telling me I'm not, precious me, is not going to exist anymore in the universe? Well, that can't be true. So Sean got him. Right.
Yeah.
And by the way, they get him every time he's on Fox News. Remember this legendary interaction between Silverman and O'Reilly.
Tide goes in, tide goes out. Never a miscommunication. You can't explain that. You can explain why the tide goes in.
Tide goes in, tide goes
See, the
out.
water, the tide comes in and it goes out, Mr. Silverman.
Maybe
it
it's
always comes
Thor
in
on top of
no, it
Mount
goes
Olympus
out.
who's making the tides go in and out.
No, but you can't explain that.
You can't. Oh, actually, we totally can. I love that every time. It has to do with the moon. It has to do with a lot of things that scientists have thoroughly explained.
Yeah, why don't you get an oceanographer on, Bill? Yeah, he'd probably have that answer for you. Yeah.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
It's oceanographers. Tides go in, tides go out. Can't explain. He's like, well, actually, let me go to work here.